Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mike from M&R Automotive. Today we have a Hummer EV and we're installing a 50-inch Curve Pro Series M&R light bar. First thing we're going to do is remove the factory caps on the top of the windshield. These are the mount locations. So we're just going to take these bolts out and the caps pop off. If it's your first time removing them, there might be a little glue underneath, so just pry them slightly with a flathead. So on the back of this cap, they have these clips and they might stick inside. So if it pops out, just pry it with a screwdriver and get them out. There it is. So there's two clips and a hole in the middle. That's the one that's used for the bolt mounting. Alright, next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove this side trim piece as well as this trim piece. You get a pick or a screwdriver, pick it in here. It's all clips. The only thing that's holding it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clips. Next thing we're going to remove this panel, and the main thing you want to do is just grab it by the edge here and just pry it towards you. So you can use pry it with a screwdriver or a pick. So you just remove it. It's held on the bottom and one clip on top. So in order to get to the fasteners of this A-pillar trim, you got to remove these two caps. Go ahead and pry it where the speaker is. That's one cap. And then there's a second one up top. And just clips on them, and then that exposes two bolts. We're going to remove those bolts. It's a 10mm, and then after we remove them, we can go ahead and pull on the handle for it to come out. Be careful, there will be a harness for the speaker, so you don't want to pull too much. You want to disconnect it first. That's two. And then I am just going to grab it and go to the side. See, it already comes off. So when you are pulling on it, just be careful. There is a small harness on here, and just press on it and remove it. Press on the tab and pop it off. So just make sure to disconnect this so that way you don't break this wire. Now that we have the A-pillar panel removed, let's go ahead and remove the visor. You want to unclip this here. First thing you have to unclip is a plastic trim piece here that exposes 3 bolts, and it just kind of comes off. There's a slit in the middle, and then there's 3 Torx bolts. So we're going to go ahead and remove these bolts. So once we remove these 3, we can pull this down. And there's these 2 clips, one on both sides, 1, 2. When you take it out, we can set this to the side. Now there's 2 push pins that we're going to remove to be able to peel this plastic down. Put a flathead underneath it, twist it to raise the top end, and then just pry this up and it comes out. Now that we have these push pins removed, we can peel back this plastic. And if you look through the opening where we're going to feed our power wire through, you'll be able to see the light. It'll come out from here. So the next thing we're going to do is install the passenger side bracket. Notice it's a 2-piece bracket in order to accommodate the stamp indent in the factory body panel. And then we have the M8 bolt that's going to hold everything together. So on the base plate, there is a waterproofing barrier on the bottom. The waterproof gland has an O-ring to make everything completely waterproof. So we're going to go ahead and tighten it. Now I'm going to tighten this completely all the way after. I'm going to go ahead and feed the light bar wire after we thread it into the bracket. So on the driver's side, we're going to do the same thing, except there is no waterproof gland because the wiring is on the other side. So we have a base plate without the secondary hole. And then we're going to install the actual M&R mount on top of the base plate with a M8 bolt that has a rubber washer. Hand thread it first. I'm going to thread the light bar on the bracket, and then we're going to do the final tie down. So now that the light bar is on the mounts, let's fish the light bar wire through the waterproof gland. I'm going to take the top cap off, and you'd want to have it go through the wire because later on you want it completely tightened. Next thing we're going to do is take out this inner sleeve, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the cap, because after everything's in place, we're going to want to put this back and tighten it. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to feed the 3 wires into this opening and take it out from the other side. Tug on it to kind of get rid of all the slack. Make sure all the wires in, and then I'm going to install this last, which is the sleeve. This is what makes it a waterproof connection. So I'm going to move this over to the end, and we're going to install those pieces towards the end after we've eliminated all the slack. So this is probably the best it's going to be. So now I'm sliding all the components back on, and then we have the final nut that we're going to tighten. And then when we tighten the nut, it's going to squeeze those components and create a watertight seal. Let me go get a wrench. So now that we have our wire coming out from here, I do want to emphasize to bring it out to the side through this channel. Okay, that's good. Now we can clip all this stuff back up. The next panel we want to remove is the top piece of the AC vent. What you want to do is just get a pick or a flathead screwdriver, put it in there, and it comes off. Now on the side of the AC vent, there is an opening here. And what this is going to allow me to put my wire through, and it'll come out on this end. Look at that. And here is our power wire for a light bar. So once we get the wire on the side, we're going to go ahead and use the factory grommet, except we're going to go ahead and poke a hole in it. Just kind of poke the center. We're going to plug this back up, and then we can actually fish this wire through the opening here into the front area. And then once we drag this out, it gives you perfect length to tap into the factory power distribution box. Let's go ahead and get it wired up and use the auxiliary switches. So this is a factory Hummer EV on-screen control module. It does have a plug. So first thing I want to do is actually disconnect this plug. I'm going to pull this back. Now that we got this red tab out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and press on it so that way I can remove the socket. If you take a look at the back of this plug, because there's already a hood mount kit installed on this Hummer EV, switch number 1 is already taken. And the way this plug works is, this is switch number 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it goes back from 5, 6, 7, 8. We already have switch number 1 taken, so we'll probably end up using 2 and 4 for the powerful white light and amber DRL. Those are the 2 power sources. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop these silicone protective pieces out. If you look at the wiring of the light bar, you get 3 wires. You have the black wire, which is the ground. You have the red wire, which is the power to the main function of the light, which is gonna be white. And then you have the white wire, which is going to be the amber DRL. You can tell that the white wire is a little bit thinner because it's only a DRL function. It doesn't necessarily need that type of amperage in the wiring. So we're going to put pins on the red and the white wire, so that way we can plug it into the socket. So before we connect the wiring into the socket, we do have to pin them. But mainly it allows you to put a pin on your wire, so that way when you plug it into the socket, you can see there's one already in there, and you'll need to add them for every accessory that you connect. So right now there's one. We're going to put one on this slot for switch number 2, and the last slot, which is switch number 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a crimp on the red and white wire. So I'm going to go ahead and put the wire here. You can use pliers or a crimping tool just to press this in. What it does, it provides contact between the wire, and now we can stick this into the plug from the back side, and it'll come out as a pin on the inside that plugs it directly into the module. And we'll do the same thing for the white wire. This looks good. Now we can go ahead and put it in a pin. With the powerful white light, we're going to go ahead and put it in pin number 2, and then the amber DRL, we'll put it on pin number 4. And I'm going to pull it in through the inside. Okay, that's good. And then we're gonna do switch number 4, and same thing, pull the pin through, pushing it in an appropriate slot here. So switch 2, switch 4, and then when you see it peaking, I grab it with needle noses and just pull it through, so that way it locks in place. So the last thing we have to do is just put a ground here, and then plug this back and put the fuses and the relay into the box, and then we're all done. So one thing I want to do, I want to actually get the ground wire out of this bundle. So I'll just take the sheeting, slide it, so that way we can pull the ground and ground it on the chassis of the vehicle or the battery. So I am going to put an eyelet on it, and with my crimping tool, I've created a good ground. We can actually use any of these bolts as a ground. Slide my eyelet on this bolt and reinsert it. Okay, perfect. So now to summarize everything, we've installed pin number 2 and pin number 4 into the socket, and we have connected the ground. Now we're ready to connect the plug back, and then move this red slot to lock it in place. like that. The next step is to take off the cover from the distribution box, so that way we can install the relay and the fuse for the circuits that we're using. So there are 2 tabs. If you squeeze them on the sides, you can just pull up, and then I'll take off the main cover. We already have 1 relay for switch number 1, and they already have 1 fuse. We're going to go ahead and add a second relay for switch number 2, and then we're going to add a third relay for switch number 4, and you have to do it for every switch that you're using. So we skipped 3, so we're going to go ahead 2 and 4. So now that the relays are in, now we have to add 2 fuses. For switch number 2, which is going to control the white function of our light bar, I'm going to use a 20 amp fuse, and I'm just going to go ahead and stick it in the slot, and I'm going to put a 10 amp for button number 4. We're going to throw a 20 amp for the white function of the light bar, and we're going to put a 10 amp for the amber DRL because it doesn't have that much draw. So let's go ahead and test it using our interior controls. I'm going to go ahead and click the little Hummer EV button, and then I'm going to click on auxiliaries. Auxiliary 2 we're going to use for the powerful white light of the light bar. So there's a little edit button here. You can press auxiliary 2 and you can change them. So for example, I think this looks like a light bar. Alright, and then for switch number 4, we're actually going to go ahead and this is the DRL. For DRL, I'm just going to use this. And now that the wiring is done, let's go ahead and test it out. This is the amber DRL. And then with another switch, you get the powerful white light. Thank you guys for watching, and I know you're going to love the product.